Jokers, my goodness. Hi. I think it's okay. Wavy Foxgloves. Hello, good afternoon. It's Anya Divine here. It is afternoon, yes. I've just had a lovely walk with Maisie. Well, sunny walk anyway. It's quite vigorous, pounding and pulsing along. And so I'm likely to go for a swim shortly, but I thought I have got about half an hour and I want to do some more to this painting. I'll see what I'm going to do. I wanted to start by stenciling in the brightness of the flowers and the foxgloves, and I'll do that in acrylic, and that dries quickly. And then my plan is to use the Payne's Grey to come in with the oil paint around them, because there's something in that as I look at the flowers, and even the light green of the leaves as well. So I just put this back here. Even the light green, not of the leaves, but the kind of buds, you know, at the top, like the tips, they're all very bright as well. But that might be done in oil paint because I've already put down a dark acrylic there. But it's just, I think I want to do the brightness of the flowers so far. We'll see how I get on with it. I'm not going to say for definite what I'm going to do, but I've made a start by putting out some light coloured paint, and it's acrylic paint. So that's where I'm beginning. And let's see what happens. Now I've got my phone beside me because Lily staved her finger actually 2 weeks ago. And you know what? It's not looking great. And so I'm a bit worried that it might need, I don't know, set or something. Anyway, I have an appointment with the doctor, a phone call first. So I'm waiting for her to phone me. And hopefully she can arrange to see Lily. See what needs to be done about that finger. She was playing rugby, and her middle finger was pushed back. Okay, so I found a stencil that I think is a good shape for the flowers of the foxglove. And I'm just gonna go in with something as bright as I can find. It's nice and bright, and there's also this other, it's a kind of a richer pink, I suppose you could say. So I'll just put the two of those on and see. Yeah, and I think the thing is, what I could do as well, like, is with the oil paint, then I could always, once this is dried, I could always use the oil paint to lighten the flowers even further. But I wanted to first just reapply the lights. There was some lovely lights on here before, and I ended up going over them with you know how that happens, you lose and find and lose and find. The lights that I put on before were actually the lovely alcohol ink, that's what it was. I've got a lot of white in this one now, but I kind of want it to be really bright. Yeah, do you see, it needs to stand out, and I'm not sure whether I will make it stand out with oil or with I'm liking this effect. It's kind of getting the brightness that I'm after just now, and maybe the oil paint is best used for describing the background colour, the dark as it comes in to meet this bright. Some sort of circular thing happening, and some of these as well. So there's a circular shape in the stencil. Maybe I'll use it for this one here too. It's not actually a foxglove stencil, obviously, but I'm finding petals that look, or shapes that look like the petals of the sunflower. Not sunflower, fucking foxglove. I don't know why I keep saying sunflower. And of course, never underestimate the power of your fingers as tools for painting as well. I've got a nice purple here as well now. So some of these bells might be best described in, gosh, that's really thick. Some of those bells might be best described in that purpley colour too, maybe. I'll just mix it all in now for this last one here. Let's see how we go. I mean, there's work to be done still there, obviously. But just playing about with different options for how to make these flowers happen. And nothing is set in stone, of course, as always. There's the possibility of moving from this decision to... It's a bit tricky to see because it's backlit, but I don't want to obviously close the curtains, and I don't want to do that because then I want to feel the natural light on the flowers, and I want that. So, and I hope you can see all right. I know it's not ideal viewing, but hopefully it's good enough, as all these marks feel like they're good enough for now, and we can see what happens as the painting unfolds in bravery. There's something about courage, coming in with the willingness to just let it go a bit pear-shaped if that's what's going to happen, and trust that something unexpected can arise when movements are made that are not controlled and contrived, that there's the possibility then of freshness and newness and life and vigor, and the way all of those things, those lovely words. And it's to the place where we can completely fall and break, and that's kind of needs, I suppose there's something about that needs to be okay as well, because courage involves like if we knew that we would, that as I don't know who said this, leap in the net will appear. If we knew sorry, my hair is all weird. If we knew the net would appear, then where's the courage in that, so there needs to be, and I think Brené Brown said that there needs to be like a vulnerability there, that the most courageous people have all in common, that they are also willing to be vulnerable and to have that kind of to choose freedom over fear. Not saying that fear isn't there, but to choose freedom over it. And I struggle with that. I suppose we all do, really, as human beings, this kind of wanting sureness, but like we're never able to I don't think we're designed to stay in that sure place, because it's too uncomfortable after a while. There's just this kind of paralysis or stuckness, or something happens that makes staying safe an impossibility in the end. Because I wonder whether if it was possible I would stay there, and I'd like to think I wouldn't, but I love comfort, but it becomes uncomfortable in the extreme to stay complacent, to stay comfortable. It's a paradox, isn't it? Comfortable becomes uncomfortable. Right. I'm wondering whether to bring in greens in the acrylic or move. I think I will, and it might be a darker green. I hope the cats haven't been drinking out of that water. If you find a rim that's too small for their heads to fit in, you can guarantee they won't drink your water. So the milk bottles are handy for me. But that cup, I know Midnight can get her tongue in there all right. But I think the water level was... Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that. No, I thought I might use a dark green. So we've got Prussian blue and sap green. If I mix those two together, I'm going to make a dark green that I could kind of dance around the pinks I just put on, pinks and purples. Because what I want to happen here is... I've left the brushes in the kitchen again. No, I'll just use a new one. What I want to happen here is I want to disperse the dark green around the flowers before... Yeah, there's just some kind of punctuation of dark green. Yeah, so let's see if that's going to work. Like, when I half close my eyes, I see that there's spaces that are occupied by really dark bottle green in between and around the lighter green, and in between and around those gorgeous trumpety flowers. And here's some dark green here. This reminds me, I remember in Izmir, I went over for the watercolour. I was on the panel for some watercolour thing in Turkey. IWS it was, I think, International Watercolour Society. And anyway, there was a fantastic guy. What was his name? He was giving a demonstration, and he sat there with his hand like this, open and gentle on his knee the whole time that he was painting this amazing portrait. And I was almost moved to tears to see the softness of that hand. It's like a receiving. And I've noticed it happening in my own, since I noticed him doing it, I'm aware that actually it's something that when I'm in a state that feels more receptive, I notice that that's what's happening with my hand too, that it's opening up. My goodness. There's the thing with life, I'm noticing anyway, really more so these days than, I don't know, but it feels more stormy or more extreme, extremes of, and it's not so much a roller coaster, it's like going into the feelings, extremes of sadness maybe, and then anger, and through that then joy maybe, and this experience of now feels like it's occurring only because those things happened. Like I was in tears this morning. I couldn't explain exactly why. There was just a frustration of a stuck some sort of thing, and I felt like there was a fine skillfulness around. I mean, it didn't feel skillful at the time, but I could sense that it was helpful to meet the feeling, but maybe not fully submerge into the lifelessness of it, to notice it and breathe into it as best I could, and then see it and put it down somewhere separate from me, like writing or drawing or something. And then walking with Maisie was quite good to kind of pound out feelings of anger again. No idea where they're generated from, but all of that, like I think there's something about it being cathartic, and maybe a process that our bodies know that we don't have to figure out. And I like that, because figuring out doesn't suit me. I'm far more, find far more joy. I don't know what I was going to do with the yellow. Oh yeah. In not figuring out, actually, and not having to figure out, because I don't think I'm adept at that at all. I think response, I'm quite good at responding. I've just been reading Chris Westfall's book called Easier. Well, I read it once and I feel like I want to read it again. It's an insightful, but it's exciting really, because it doesn't look like it is. You maybe need to read it to know, but it's a story. But actually, it's a very kind of effective coaching manual, which is a strange thing for life though. The first thing he says is you need to get lazy. I love that, the idea of rest, treating every day like a lazy Sunday afternoon. And from there, fruitfulness seems to arise. It's not like you do nothing always, but just from a place of, and he was speaking about as well, moving, doing anything from a state of desperation. It's not a great grounding for anything, and I know it's easier said than done, because often in life we feel anxious and worried about stuff, and we have to still move. It's like the tangled microphone that day. I don't know if you watched that video, but I was saying I just had to tolerate it being tangled and still move. So there is that, but also there is a benefit too to noticing when we really do need to stop and be still and just allow healing to occur without us being the drivers of it. Something like that. What was I going to say about that then? Oh, I don't know. Doesn't matter. I'm going to put a bit of white into that green because I want it to be even lighter again. There's a lovely lightness in the green. It's a yellow, white, and so lemon yellow, white, and sap green, and the Prussian blue, I think, is the blue I used at first. I wanted to make the dark green, and then this lighter green is being made by mixing white and lemon yellow with that first dark green. And the first dark green was made, and again this is all acrylic paint, the first dark green was made with Prussian blue. I'll just be sure that that's right. Yeah, Prussian blue hue and sap green. There's a lovely brightness there, fierce bright all together. I put a bit more white in just to capture that. And there'll be flashes now. When I half close my eyes, that stem in the background there is fierce white as well, fierce light. So Lily has her concert, her school concert. She's a beautiful singer, and she's got a concert tomorrow night, Thursday. She's not long started at this school, but the music teacher is very encouraging and has said to her, you know, come along, be in the choir. And she's really encouraging her for next year too, you know, to I was going to say to take up space. I suppose I kind of mean that, but you know, to express herself through voice and music. Seems like it's one of her languages. She can play the piano, like, just, you know, it seems to me very easily picks up things on the piano through YouTube videos and stuff like that. So it's a real delight, you know, to see that when your child finds something. It's like the football as well. She loves the football. So although that's going to be a little bit of it'll be time consuming unless I make myself do. Yeah, I'll tell you what. So the football, she's changed. Easy, leave her. She's changed to Arniston Football Club since the Pennycook team has folded. At least I think that's what's happening. But it's the coach had to leave anyway, and so she changed to Arniston Football Club. But it's 20 minutes drive away. But you know what? It's not far from the reservoir. It's 11 minutes from a different reservoir, Rosebery Reservoir. And I know that people swim there sometimes, so I'm going to investigate that while she's at training, at least on the Monday, and go and have a swim. And the other thing I could do, of course, is take Maisie and have a walk, or maybe both. Maisie's quite good in the car. And, gosh, I'm kind of marvelling at the difference in my mood from earlier. I don't know what the story is there. And I suspect it could have a tiny bit of it could be the coffee I had, but I really don't think I don't want to diminish that because I feel like it's maybe the process of this that's creating vigor, you know, the process of this kind of looking and drawing down and figuring out, and the joy of it really, you know. So I don't want to kind of diminish that or there's a better word than diminish, you know, by saying it's just caffeine. Okay, so there's the thing of the on the Monday I could do the swimming while she's at training, and guess what, on Thursday there's an adult football team. There's I think it'll be mums of girls who play football who are actually after creating their own team. I was hoping to join you know, I watched Lily playing and I love football actually myself. I love to watch, you know, to see her skill and to see it developing too, but also just the fun of playing, you know, and the vigor. There's something that I feel that in my life is a little bit missing in a team, you know, to do something vigorous. And I don't think aerobics in a gym is going to work for me. And like, to be honest, I'm not so sure about the ethos of football and stuff. When I think it through, you know, there's going to be someone losing and all that, but I think it's just fun as well, you know. And I think I do have a competitive edge. If any of my family are watching this now, or any particularly spouses of my siblings are watching, they will say all the Aherns have a competitive edge. And maybe it was to do with our Scrabble games growing up, I don't know. But there were 7 of us, and there are still 7, thank God. And I suppose there was, you know, a bit of jostling about trying to get seen, so the sibling rivalry probably played a part in our upbringing too. Not so much anymore, I don't think, but until the Scrabble board comes out. I'm going over on Saturday now to be with family for the weekend, and my 3 girls are coming as well. Well, we're going on Saturday until Wednesday, I think it is. I'm going to have a few nights in Killarney, and that's a real joy, you know, meeting up with all of them. great fun. It's good too that nobody is singularly having to host it all. I wanted to give a shout out to my mum, who has developed COVID, I'm afraid. I don't know if she'd be happy about me saying that. Maybe I shouldn't. Do you know what? I'm going to stop.